Rajiv. Once again, good evening. So, on behalf of EV Reporter, I invite you for this meeting. So, kindly could you give a brief introduction about ETO Motors?
Yeah. So Ito Motors is a 360-degree ecosystem enabler in electric vehicle space. Primarily, it's a manufacturer. We manufacture L5 products. Our cargo product is called Bulky Plus, and our passenger product is called Trilex. And our research continues to bring even more innovative products. We are also the fleet operator. We deploy our vehicles in the last mile delivery operations of players such as Amazon, Big Basket, Flipkart, Grofers. And apart from this, we also install charging infrastructures for our customers, for other fleet operators, as well as for the other OEMs.
So, I would like to ask a question about the current fleet size of your L5 vehicle categories and major operational cities.
Yeah. So, passenger and cargo put together, we have 500 plus vehicles running across the country. The cities that we are operational are Hyderabad, of course, that's our homegrown, Bangalore, Delhi, Nagpur, and very soon we are starting in Vijayawada, Pune, Chennai, and Mumbai. So, in fact, when it comes to the last mile, I would say passenger mobility, we already have signed up last mile mobility, I would say connectivity contracts with Delhi Metro, Noida Metro, and also Nagpur Metro. In our operations, there are two kinds of operations. One is the middle mile logistics, and the other one is the last mile logistics. Middle mile logistics is basically from the mother house to their or warehouse to their delivery center. Delivery center is the place from where the last mile delivery for the customers or individual consumers like you and me happen. Because our vehicles are better than the existing market, I would say, offerings. Because if you look at the existing market offerings, majority of the battery capacity and of the vehicles that is being offered is around 7 to 7.7 kilowatt hour, which basically covers up to 70 to 80 kilometers as a range. But then we talk about a 9.4 kilowatt hour battery package, which gave us a range of 148 kilometers when certified through ICAT. And when run on city and practical applications, it easily runs between 100 to 120 kilometers. So with this longer range in place, we have our applications both in middle mile logistics as well as the last mile logistics, through which these goods are directly delivered to the customers.
Right. So, in terms of payload capacity, that's the maximum payload capacity of these vehicles.
Yeah. So the maximum payload capacity is generally limited by the government of India. Okay. So the payload capacity for an L5 vehicle is limited at around 550 kg. We have also designed our vehicles with the same, with plus or minus 10% as the tolerance.
Okay. Okay. Good. So, next question: how do you manage the trip allocation and trip management for this B2B and B2C services?
Yeah. So let me first talk about the B2B services.
Right.
B2B services, we have most of our systems integrated with the customer systems. In fact, our driver come delivery associates on their phones, they have the route maps and then the systems of our customers. And it is through the system is where we get the orders, and the system guides them to deliver the orders, and optimally we deliver those orders using that system. And when it comes to B2C, we have our own app where the drivers basically, this is from the passenger mobility, where the drivers can book a vehicle from our platform and take the vehicle on rental basis, do their trips throughout the day, make a decent earning, and then return that vehicle back to our hub to deploy it for charging.
Great. So, talking about this vehicles itself, how do you manage this charging of all this EV fleet?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, Francis. Because most of our, I would say, customers and most of the competitors in the market struggle at this point of time, and then they depend on external resources to support them in terms of charging infra. But that's not the case with Ito Motors. Why? Because the team from Ito Motors has an experience of installing more than 30 megawatt of charging infrastructure only in terms of the electric vehicles perspective. And a single location near Pune is where we have deployed or commissioned a charging infrastructure of 5 megawatt. We have hubs spread across the, I would say, the cities that we are operational from. Say, for example, in Hyderabad alone, there are more than 7 hubs where our complete charging infrastructure is deployed. The vehicles retire in the evening, they are plugged, and in the morning they are fully charged, and then they go for deliveries. Now, any new city that we enter, the very first thing that we do is we first set up the charging infrastructure, and then we start our operations, not only for our internal consumption. These days, we are also working very closely with some of our customers where we are converting their hubs into EV friendly, so that the other makes of the vehicles can also come and charge their vehicles. As I told you in the beginning, we are a 360-degree ecosystem enabler. We want all the players, we want all, I would say, stakeholders in the EV ecosystem to be benefited from the strengths and offerings that we have. And that is the reason we do not restrict this charging infrastructure to just our own vehicles. Any EV can come to the hub, and then they can charge at a very nominal price. So the complete commissioning and installation is done in-house, Francis.
Great, good. So next question I want to ask, what are the major challenges that you face in this maintaining this EV fleet?
See, even while I was with Gati and Avan India, this is what I used to say. At that point of time, there used to be 2 challenges. One is the vehicle reliability, other one is the manpower reliability. Thanks to Ito Motors and it's a strong, I would say, technology partnership with the strong players, BYD, right? Majority of the aspects from the technical perspectives are all closed. The vehicles are sturdy, rugged, and strong. So now the puzzle that needs to be filled is the manpower puzzle. With so many players right now into the last mile deliveries, whether it is players like Swiggy, Zomatos, and Dunzos, and all these players right now, 1MG is also into this. I mean, there are many players now who are into on-demand last mile deliveries. So this kind of disturbs the existing contractual last mile deliveries, like something that we do, where the demand is consistently there, whereas in other cases it is surge. So whenever there is a surge, that time we see its effect on the manpower, but then we handle it by maintaining buffer and well-trained manpower, so that our customers' operations are never, I would say, disturbed.
Good. So next question, can you give us an idea about how you do the business models in aggregating the demand supply for this shipments that you maintain?
A brief of how we run the operations. I'll talk about the operations model, right? So basically, we are the last mile service provider to many of the, I would say, logistics players and e-commerce players. So the shake hand between us happens at their delivery center, that is at the last mile hub. That is where they hand over their products and then they hand over their responsibility of delivering those products to their customers to us. And then we have our own fleet of trained, I would say, driver cum delivery associates, and we have our own right supervisors who are very well trained. In fact, we have key account managers who are basically taking care of one particular customer. Say, for example, Amazon. This key account manager has got a complete understanding of the operations of Amazon. They are completely aware of the elasticity that is required, especially during the peak that's happening right now. There is a lot of demand, right? There is a sudden, we operated almost 1.5 to 1.8x, I would say, the capacity of whatever it is, right? So it is in those cases, we have these key account managers who closely monitor the operations of our customers, who closely work with our customers, and accordingly, we also kind of expand and contract in terms of our manpower and our deliverables.
Good. So another question, you are an OEM. So how is it different from other fleet operators as working as an OEM itself?
Yeah, this is an interesting and very important question, Francis. Let me, at this point of time, reflect upon the experience that I had while I was, in fact, the first last mile mobility operations through electric vehicles in IKEA back in the year 2018 were started by me. And that time I was heading the electric vehicle business at Gati. Now, when you look at the ICE vehicles, say for example, Tata Ace or Mahindra Jeeto or Bolero or Ashok Leyland Dost, or even 407s and Eicher 11s, 00s, all these vehicles have been running for more than a decade. And that means they have been proven. There are very limited, I would say, surprises. There are very limited uncertainties. The vehicles behave in the way generally you predict and then the drivers predict. But when we started our operations with electric vehicles, and at that point of time, there was only one OEM who was doing L5 vehicles, and we took the vehicles, their products, and started deploying them in our operations. But we felt handicapped because the technology is new, the product is new, the driver acceptability is not yet fully there. And whenever there used to be a breakdown of the vehicle on the roads, the support system used to be very limited from the other OEM, and because the OEM has got their own, I would say, priorities, right? And then we had to tow those vehicles and all. This was what I mean. These are the initial hiccups that we had. But then now, being an OEM and doing the, I would say, the fleet operations by ourselves, the biggest advantage that we have is we learn the operations directly, and then we deploy all of them into our vehicle design. Say, for example, if you look at the Bulky Plus, E2 Bulky Plus, this is one of the largest vehicle in the industry with 2.7 meters of wheelbase, right? While the market is at around 2.2 meters. That means you have a real estate of around 0.5 meters within the vehicle. Now, if you observe the design of the vehicle carefully, the vehicle has been designed such a way that the driver cum delivery associate has been considered as the center of its design. That's why you see our cockpit of the drivers. Even our parking brakes are not given as a hand-operated levers. Our parking brakes are also foot pedal operated parking brakes, because we want to ensure that the driver cum delivery associates, when they come in and go out of the vehicle, there is nothing that comes on their way. And our vehicles also has some of the best and first-in-class features, such as bucket seats, right? Not even in many cars have bucket seats these days, entry-level cars. And these bucket seats are again adjustable with lumbar support and then the neck rest. Then we also have the rear view camera, right? Again, rear view camera is a luxury even among the cars, right? But then in our three-wheelers, we have given rear view camera as a default feature for a simple reason that majority of the accidents happen because when the driver reverses, because of the huge container that is behind them, they hardly can see what is behind it. So why am I making these statements is because being an OEM ourselves, we were able to incorporate and deploy all of these final elements into our designs. That's why our vehicles have become the darling of the industry. And not only that, to our customers, they are tension-free. Say, for example, right, if a customer, say, for example, Big Basket or Flipkart or Grofers or any of such kind of customers, if there is some, I would say, dip in the SLAs, it is possible that the fleet operator might say that, hey, you know what, the vehicle is bad and hence I could not deliver, right? But, and then the customer will then contact the vehicle manufacturer and then say, hey, you know what, what's happening? Why is the fleet operator not able to deliver? And then there is unnecessary, I would say, passing on of the buck without being fixed, which is not the case with us. Because when we talk to our customers, we represent both an OEM and a fleet operator, and the buck ends with us and remains with us. And we don't just sit there, we convert that into a solution. So that gives even more confidence to our players, because we are both an OEM as well as a fleet operator. It gives more confidence, and because majority of our driver cum delivery associates are trained to handle basic, I would say, running repairs and fixings of the vehicles. And all our hubs have got a service technician permanently stationed there. And what he does is every night he ensures that all the vehicles are charged. He ensures that all the vehicles are in the running condition. Only after gives a quality check do the vehicles, right, the next day go for delivery. So that is the process that was set in place. This is all possible because we are a combination of a fleet operator and an OEM, right? And that way we have a huge advantage. In fact, the numbers themselves speak for it, right? When we started our operations in November 2020, we started our operations with only 5 vehicles in Hyderabad. And now we are talking about 500 plus vehicles across the country in less than a year's time of operations. That itself is a testimony to what I would say value addition that we brought in this industry, and how customers have recognized to differentiate us from rest of the OEMs or rest of the fleet operators.